welcome to our fair city. And Congressman Courtney from the 2nd District. From the state representative, we have Mr. Ken Green. Who is the Executive Director of the Court Support Services Division. Bill. Is Mr. Tom Swan, who is Executive Director of the Connecticut Citizens Action Group in Connecticut. Mr. Attorney Lonnie Braxton, who is here on the panel. Keith Fontaine, who is the Vice President and Chief Communications Officer of the Bacchus Hospital.
Things and systems. We often talk about the education system, but we get hung up on
We have Abby Dolliver, who is Acting Superintendent of the Norwich Public Schools. And Mr. Terell Wilson, who is Connecticut State Youth and College President of the NAACP.
Study showed that over 3 years for people who were incarcerated after they got out for 3 years, those that had full-time employment had the lowest recidivism rates. Those who were unemployed had the highest recidivism rates. There's plenty of research to support the connection between recidivism reduction and employment. So we can't have safer communities if we can put more of these folks to work. We can have a better economy, because instead of these folks draining our taxpayers of the money, the cost of putting people through the criminal justice system, they can actually be taxpayers and be paying income tax and producing revenue.
So when they do see how it's impacting their life, they are motivated enough to go to school, to want to do more with their life, and that goes on to college or their trade. It keeps on going so that they'll be a successful citizen in this country.
We see the effects of having parents who are on the sex offender registry. We can see the effects of having parents who are unemployed. We can see that every day in our schools, and it's only together that we can make a difference in supporting students and families through these difficult times. So I think we talk about high school. I think you're right to talk about linking it to middle school. We really do have to have a continuum of service for all of our students and our families.
So if you are fortunate enough to get into a program that provides you with all these great things, what employer is going to open his or her heart and say, I'm going to take a chance on this person? And that's a very, very important thing we need to address. Because the person, if it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 20 years, and they pay for their crime and they're rehabilitated, and this is as a prosecutor, if you've done something wrong, you should pay. But how long should you average of $28,000 a year? If you graduate from college, you will make an average of $54,000 a year. Expand that out for 10 years, that's $540,000 for 10 years of work as a college graduate without raises. The state of Connecticut spends $42,000 after tax to lock you up. Think about that. Who pays that? The people in this room pay that. We want something for our money. And at the end of the day, being a person who's finally got over 60, I do not want to spend my later years working to support someone who should have a job. So we need to actually figure out our shortcut.
And one of the most important changes I think that we can make, if we can put more of them to work, is we can give some peace to families, the individuals with whom they live. And ultimately, if we can change one person, we can improve a family and we can improve a neighborhood. So I will tell you that we would, in the probation system, feel like we can buy the drug treatment, we can buy the mental health services, we can We can buy anger management. We can deal with that. The biggest barrier that we face is trying to connect people to meaningful employment, to vocational training, and then even once we connect them.
That are proceeding through Grasso Tech. And right now in the Congress, I sit on the Education and Labor Committee. We are taking up the reauthorization of the Workforce Investment Act, which is a set of programs that, again, in Eastern Connecticut and Norwich, we have the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Investment Board that connects private employers with programs in the education system and job training programs to make sure that we have that connection between what the workforce needs are here in this region with the schools, so that we've got a connection and that they're producing the people that will be ready to take those employment opportunities, which again we know are going to be growing by bigger and bigger numbers. And it's been 10 years since the Workforce Investment Act has been reauthorized, and on the Education and Labor Committee shortly we are going to be taking up again a new extension of that act, and that student mentoring internship program is something that we want to make a national policy, so that Abby's work in terms of the education system, is going to have that direct link to the private sector and the employment needs for the communities and the regions where they do their work.
I have one question from the